In process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. Now that's interesting, eh? This is where a close reading matters. So we don't know what Cain's offering is. It's not much described. But we do know something about Abel's offering. And what we know is that by the standards of the time, it's a high quality offering. So it's the firstborn and it's the fat, that high calorie, right? I mean, you know, we think of fat as a dietary danger, but if you're hungry, that's really wrong, right? Because fat is unbelievably high calorie. And so what's happening is the story points out quite clearly that what Abel decides to offer to God is of high quality. So it's the real thing. It's the real thing. He's paying a price. Okay, and so then it's burned. Well, why is it burned? Well, you know, this is back again thinking from an archaic perspective. Well, God's in the sky. You can't throw your lamb up into the sky, it'll just fall back down. And so, but people knew, because they'd mastered fire, that smoke and savor rose. And so you could detect the quality of an offering as a consequence of burning, and then that would go up, in the spirit of the fire would go up to the sky, and God could detect whether or not your offering was of reasonable quality. You know, it's concretized, obviously, but you don't want to make the assumption that the people who were our forebears were stupid just because they thought using metaphors that aren't the same as our metaphors. They were still mapping out the damn territory, you know, and you, look, you can read a book like you're above the authors of the book, or you can read a book as if it might have something to teach you. And I would say, well, sometimes the book isn't worth reading. But if a book has been around for a very long period of time and a very large number of people have thought that perhaps there's something in it, sometimes they're right. So, and it's a tricky thing, and it might also depend on how you read it. But I found that this sort of investigation was a lot more useful if I started from the presupposition that maybe there was something I didn't know. Instead of, you know, so funny, for example, I taught a first year course about 10 years ago on the psychology of religion, and it was so interesting dealing with the 18-year-old students because they were completely dismissive of religious ideas. And I thought, God, you guys, you don't know anything. And you have this specific kind of blindness that a set of very intelligent social psychologists also identified, which was blindness. Because it actually turns out that the less you know about a topic, the more you overestimate the quality of your knowledge. And so I thought, we're in this situation where kids who don't even know how to act in the world, they don't know anything, will come to university and start off with the proposition that they're astute critics of Judeo-Christian culture, of which they know nothing. They know nothing about it. They know nothing about history. They know nothing about philosophy, nothing about literature, but they're absolutely certain that they're correct in the criticisms that they're bringing forth. It's absolutely unbelievable. So, anyways, and it's not helpful because then you don't get to learn, and you want, well, you know what happens if you don't learn. Okay, so